Hi folks, I did a video just a little while ago about three different ways to generate an income online from $0 to $47 investment. So I did a little bit of Fiverr. As you know, if you've watched my videos before, I talk a lot about outsourcing work, and I started thinking about Fiverr in a bit more detail and how you I'm just assuming that everybody's starting with absolutely nothing, starting with no money, starting with very, very little money, or starting with no ideas, starting with really no direction whatsoever, and saying, okay, no worries. If I have any skill on this planet, it's creating ideas and following through with ideas for people. So I got thinking about children's books and started thinking about how great children's books were when I was a child, and how they're great reading them for nieces and nephews, and how so many people I know have their own kids. And over the years, I've heard so many people talk about ideas they've got for kids' books. And I even know people who've published kids' books, and it's taken them a long time. It's been very difficult. But you have Fiverr here. Fiverr here, if you put in a search for Fiverr, if you haven't already heard me talk about it, Fiverr gives you the opportunity to search for people who will do gigs for you virtually, so they can be anywhere in the world, and usually they're happy to do them much cheaper because in some cases, like if it's writing, they can sort of tweak something they've written before and make it perfect for you, which means they don't have to always write it from scratch, so they can charge less. If you want something more exclusive, they will charge you more, and they can write you something specific to you. Same thing with artwork, same thing with most of the gigs on here. So if they're charging a little amount for what they do, chances are they've worked out a way to do it very, very quickly and very efficiently. So if you want much, much better, you can pay more, or go to Fiverr Pro, and that's where you get much more expensive gigs, but much more reliable gigs. I'd just say mess around, see what you can find here for $5, $10, $15. So let's say you put in a search here in Fiverr for children's book or children's books. Then you can look around and see what people are doing. People will print your book. People will format and lay it out. People will make a watercolor illustration. They will illustrate it. Let's have a look for right children's book. See if this makes a difference. I will unique children's book illustration. Okay, better artist than they are at writing in English. I will draw children's book illustration. I will do children's book illustration. I will write poem or prose or children's book for $5. I will write an engaging children's book for $25. So this would be interesting. What I would do as an experiment is I would write to this person and ask if they can send any form of a sample of their work. Sometimes they say no, and in fact, in some cases, if they say no, they're more reliable than others because their work is worth it and they're not just sending it out there. But if people do send you a sample, and if they're a writer and there's even a couple of typos in it, politely say thank you, I'll get back to you, and then don't get back to them, because that means they're just churning stuff out and they don't even care. But look at this. You can get on here. You can look up, write a children's book. Someone will write you a children's book. Once you have that children's book for $25, you can then get someone to draw you illustrations for that children's book. You please, and you have a look at some of their illustrations. This is beautiful. Now, beware that oftentimes the art they show is the most expensive version of what they can do. The cheaper version might be just black and white, or it might be just grayscale, or it might be, but that's okay. Even if you spent $100 for someone to write a children's book and $100 for somebody to illustrate it, it would have taken you years to come up with an idea and write something and find an artist to help you do it. So there's an idea right there. So that's if you wanted to do children's books. A children's book. So I started thinking, what if you, and there's cover art. I was looking at that children's book illustration and cover art. But I was thinking, well, what if you want to do something like sci-fi? So sci-fi writing. Here we go. I will create fabulous sci-fi intro. I will fantasy fantasy, sci-fi illustrations. I will beta read your sci-fi or fantasy manuscript. Write science fiction. I will write science fiction content. I will ghostwrite fantasy or science fiction stories. Now let's have a look at what they charge. So standard, I will write you a simple short story of your choosing. Fantasy or sci-fi or ghost story, $15. One revision, 2 days delivery, 1,000 words. I will write you a short story of your choosing with plenty of detail and characterization, 3 days delivery, 2 revision, 2,000 words. Premium, $60, 5,000 words. I'll write you a long story for you with tons of detail and characterization. Now, if you even just had an idea, I've met hundreds of people in my life that say, I've got a brilliant idea for a story or a book or a film or something, and they've never known what to do with it. Maybe you come up with ideas all the time, but you don't have time to follow through. Just as a hobby, you could jump on here and just for $30, $15, just get them to write it. Just get them to send a sample. If they don't, spend $15, see what happens. They'll ghostwrite your story, and this is only one person who can write you something in a particular genre like this. $60 for them to write 5,000 word story. Then what you can do is you can go and you can search for screenwriting on Fiverr. You can find someone who will turn your, and look around, but you'll find somebody who will adapt your short story into a screenplay. So you take the short story that this person sent you for $30. For $25 or another $30, you get detailed feedback and get someone to turn it into a screenplay for you. And then you can get someone to make sci-fi art for you for about $120 if you're lucky. You could have an original idea created for you, sci-fi, fantasy, kids book. You can have the book written in full for you. You can have all of the art done for you. And in some cases, I know with the children's book one, there's a woman who also offers, as a part of her gig, to give you a list of publishers that you should approach. So all you'd have to do is search for publishers or book publishers or something like that, and you'd find similar things here online. Then I started thinking, well, what if you did have a very clear idea for a film and you needed some concept art? What a great way to be able to pitch a story or a film or a TV show, to be able to go to one of the artists on Fiverr. And Fiverr's only one. Upwork, there are a number of different virtual worker sites, but Fiverr's a good place to start. And you can look at this for $25. I will paint your concept art or illustration. I will draw exceptional illustration or concept art. It's not going to be exceptional for $15, but it'll get you started. And then when you look at the other gigs with the other prices, so standard, $75, premium, $100. That's beautiful work for that price. Look at this. That would be $100 piece of concept art. That's your Lord of the Rings concept art right there. And then I was thinking in terms of concepts, I did remember seeing somebody, yes, and it was this guy. He will create a concept of a board game for you. A board game. He will help you with the board game. Then there are other people on there who will actually build the board game for you. Then you go back to artists again, and you can find board game art, presumably not. Look around for variations on that. You'll find something like this. I will create a board game. I will illustrate your board game. I will do concept for your board game. So look, folks, if you have any ideas at all, you have idea for screenplay, for a poem, check this out. Check this out. Saw this the other day. This is amazing. I will make a rap song to promote your business. What was the guy's name? He wrote, I'll write rap song, catchy lyrics. You have to look through. There'll be some good, there'll be some bad. But I did see a guy the other day who was fantastic, and it was like $5, $10, or $15. And, once he's written it and performed it for you, he sends it to you and you own it. So, you know, if you have any creative ideas at all and you don't know how to fulfill them, or you don't have time, you just need help, or you've got an idea and you need concept art, or you've got art and you need someone to write something, or you've got something written and you need help promoting it, this is a really great, inexpensive place to start. Remember, these people are not being ripped off. These people have worked out how to be at home, do these micro gigs for people, and do something in 5 minutes and charge $5. They're getting paid $1 an hour. They're getting paid $60 an hour. Sometimes they'll be getting paid twice as much as that. So please don't be feeling sorry for virtual workers. They've absolutely worked it out. But anyway, that is a way to say you've got ideas for a kid's book, search on Fiverr. You've got ideas for games or stories or anything. It can be turned into a screenplay. It can be turned into a game. If you think about what you could sell a book for on Amazon Kindle, for instance, and there are people that will also give you advice on how to Kindle. I will ghostwrite, proofread, and edit your Kindle book. I mean, this is I will ghostwrite, meaning they will write it for you. Give them an idea, they'll write it for you. They will proofread, they will edit your Kindle ebook or novel. Extensive research, 100% original contents, copyrights, formatting, $60, 4,000 words, $120, up to 10,000 words for $300. I mean, imagine how many years it would take you to write a book and then research how to put it in the format for Kindle. You could make one of these, not for $300, but you know, if you find someone who can do it for $20, $30, just short stories, and then you get someone else who can create you cover art for it. Inexpensively, you could be putting out a new ebook on Kindle every week, and they will be making you some nice residual income, because once they're up there, even if you're only charging $1.99 per download, when you get thousands of those over the years, that's going to be the money in the bank. Anyway, so there you go. Lots of stuff to think about, to research, to get excited about if that kind of thing floats your boat. If not, I've got plenty more ideas coming up, but this is just working out how to leverage outsourced workers with your idea or your idea and outsourced workers to start to make an income without having to leave your home and work the kind of jobs that you don't like working on. So more coming soon. I hope you enjoyed that.